Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studios. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. Thanks for watching our show. You can watch us only on Comcast 7 in Bethel Park. We appreciate all the likes, all the people saying hello, and a lot of good feedback we got on Verizon 32 with Smoking Jim Frazier's back after quadruple bypass surgery last week.
Can't keep a good man down.
Look, he even got a hat, a Penguin Championship hat from Devin Shea, who's in the control room. Thanks, Devin. Smoking Jim and him coordinated the color combination. They got the Pittsburgh Sportsline green and the green hat.
Color, man.
I know. I usually handle the color, but today I did not. I wore Miami Dolphin shirt with the coordination. Back to back, as predicted on Pittsburgh Sportsline, Chips representing. Look at the hat. We're here to do a good show for you, folks. On Facebook, Smoking Jim, I can't believe we hit a new high, 6,457 likes.
57.
People are going up there liking this.
It's a good number.
Yeah. I remember when we had 2 or 3. We were struggling to get those likes.
57. That's my
Heinz.
how old I'll be this year.
That's at Heinz. Well, I got some promos here tonight. First off the bat, I got a mark on the table here. Thanks to Olive Oil's Pizzeria, Hillcrest Shopping Center. Let me think about that number. 412-831-1900. We just had our XL pizza, steak hoagie, best around. Then I got to give a little side note. They opened a brand new place in Brookline, on Brookline Boulevard. I stopped in yesterday. My man Frank, the owner, said, "Hey, how you doing? Like the show?" He reconstructed it was offices and everything. Now he got a great pizza shop. His cooking area is twice as big as this area. He got a sit-down area in there. He goes, "When you going to do a show?" I said, "When do you want us to do a show?" He goes, "I'm starting a soft opening right now, so I don't even know the number. That's how quick it is." They got a sign outside. Stopped in, had the best Italian hoagie that I've had. They made it right up there at Olive Oil's Pizzeria. I wish them good success on Brookline Boulevard. They got Beechview, Brookline, City of Pittsburgh, Green Tree. Dormont's nearby. They got everything there. And it's a nice brand new place. And August 14th, we'll be there. And we'll have details to follow. But that's when he's going to do his opening, grand opening. So we got that to look forward. Smoking Jim can wear another color-coordinated hat and shirt. But yeah, we got that going on. Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. There's Joey Fabus with DIPG, before DIPG, died before his 9th birthday. Donate something there online, the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. Check that out. Appreciate that. Then the Bethel Park Historical Society, the Schoolhouse Art and History Center, right on South Park Road, has the trolley there. I'm on the Bethel Park Community Foundation. We donated money for 10 new windows, and they got about 50 that they're going to be putting in, so check that out. It's a great place there in the community, and they got a lot of historical things, library, artifacts, you name it. Check it out. All right, for money, if you got groups in Bethel Park, $100 to $5,000, and that's at the Bethel Park Community Foundation.org, bpcf.org. Check them out. Rivers Rumble is already here.
All right.
It's coming up on the 24th. Gates open up. Let's see when they open. First bell at 7 p.m. Doors open at 5 p.m. The 24th of June, right at Rivers Casino. Let me hit this mark. Thanks, Devin, for the tape on the table. Hope you can see that. Great night of fights. Pittsburgh fighters. Sweet Child Matt Conway. Other fighters are there. I don't have the list handy right now, but go online, Made Men Promotions. Angelo Magnone has it all up there. You can find out there. Should be a great night of fights, Smoking Jim, down by the river.
Well,
Better darken up, you guys.
hey,
Working on the tan a little bit. Whoa, these lights are bright in here. One more thing.
that tan washes off.
Not on this. Here, look, you can touch it. No mark under there. It's au naturel.
Uh-huh.
Au
There you go.
naturel, not like you guys. Smoking Jim was born that way, and he's getting a little lighter there after all that drainage. I want you, Uncle Al wants you behind the cameras at BPTV. Check out Dave Cable, 412-831-3304. You can see the nice little get-up he did for me there. My face he stuck in Uncle Sam's. I want you, whether I have a tan or not. Come on out. All right, that's what I got. We do have tickets for the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds. A lady that is a photographer of the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds reached out to us, said there's a Mount Lebanon tennis tournament that she films that maybe we could talk about that. Well, she'll have to ask us for one of our next shows. I'm working on different locations. We'll see what we come up with, but I'd be interested in interviewing her and talking about the tennis. So they've been doing that stuff for years in Mount Lebanon. Well, we start the beginning of our show with what's on your mind. And I'm going right to Smoking Jim Frazier. We still need his prayers. He's got to do therapy each week. Look at this man, how he looks. Look at that smile, the best smile in the business. And it'll be busy as can be pretty soon as things keep going. So, Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Hold it. I'm going to toss it this week.
you got
I think
to
you're ready.
see Levine.
He did it.
AB, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I just thought of my opening was actually, I moved it to Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. So my opening,
Oh,
I
no.
have a new opening, and it'll be entitled, Who's the Best Team Today Between the Pens, the New England Patriots, and the Golden State Warriors? And I'm going to say the number 3 team is the New England Patriots. I say number 2 is the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I got to say right now, I give the edge to the Golden State Warriors. 3 NBA title appearances in the last 3 years. 2 world championships. Favored again to win next year in Kevin Durant. But what I was going to use for Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac, I'll just continue because I'm going to put something else in there.
I can't wait.
The greatest teams of all time. I got to say the top 5 greatest teams of all time. Number 5, I would say the 1991-92 Pittsburgh Penguins with Mario Lemieux.
You never even saw them play with Jaromir Jagr.
Kevin Stevens, and number 68, 20-year-old Dynamo, Jaromir Jagr. I say the 4th greatest team of all time is the 83-84 Edmonton Oilers with the greatest Wayne Gretzky.
You never saw them play.
I would say the number 3 greatest team of all time is the 1972 Lakers with Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West. And I would say the number 2 greatest team of all time is the 1966 Green Bay Packers. And the number 1 greatest team of all time, 1B, would have to be
What's this one be?
the 1976 Pittsburgh Steelers, who was the greatest team but didn't win the championship. So the number 1 greatest team of all time.
Didn't they lose 4 games in a row to start the season?
Start the season. And the number 1 greatest team of all time, 78 Pittsburgh Steelers.
And just to make a comment, I actually think the best of the Penguin teams of the early 90s was the one that didn't win the championship, the 92-93 team.
I agree with that.
That was the team that
You don't
lost,
even know this
that
team.
lost to
What the
the
heck?
New York Islanders. And even Mario Lemieux says that was the best of their Stanley Cup
Do you
winning
agree that
teams.
Golden State is the best team today?
Yes, I would agree. I would agree. And you know what? They'd probably be the greatest team of all time had they won that championship last year.
No, I mean the greatest team in team sports right now.
No, yeah, no question, no question.
He just said that. What are you getting him to repeat his answers? What the heck?
It's not very often I agree.
This is
It's
live.
not very often I agree with Jim. And then when I do, he wants to make sure that everybody hears it.
This is live TV. I just wanted to make this as clear that it's live TV. They all heard that, Jim. You're the only guy to not hear that. Would they operate on your ears too? Did they open you up for those ears? Go ahead, heel up. Watch that finger biting there. Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
Oh, thank you, Alan, and good evening, everybody. And what's on my mind tonight is I sit and I reflect on how fortunate I am to have been born in the city of Pittsburgh and have chosen to make the city of Pittsburgh my home. You know, this is a city that you could refer to as the city of champions because in our sports history, we've won 16 championships. 14 of those championships were won in my lifetime. Wow. Okay? So, I mean, I know generations of fans in Cleveland that never saw a championship before last year. Yeah. You know, so, and it's been quite some time since they've hoisted any kind of trophy in Philadelphia. But, I do believe that I am very, very fortunate. And thinking back on, reflecting on some of the athletes that made their time in Pittsburgh special, I want to reflect on somebody who will shortly be leaving the Pittsburgh area, and the Pittsburgh Penguins for that matter, which would be Marc-Andre Fleury. And it's unfortunate that, the nature of professional sports is that we only have these professional athletes for a short period of time. And we had Marc-Andre for about 10 or 12 years, and he performed very well. He brought a franchise that was on the verge of moving, okay, helped to rebuild the team along with the help of Sidney Crosby and a young Evgeny Malkin, and brought the Penguins to the 2008 Stanley Cup Finals, and following year to actually win the finals, So, Marc-Andre Fleury was the epitome of a team player. He did what was best for the team. And when a young upstart came upon the scene last year, Marc-Andre stepped aside with grace and allowed him to shine. And Matt Murray has since become the starting goaltender and the first goaltender in NHL history to win 2 Stanley Cups in his rookie season. I don't think that's a feat that will ever be matched. But, no if anything, I would like to wish Marc-Andre Fleury a fond farewell. He will always be remembered here in Pittsburgh. He'll always be loved. It's unfortunate that he can't stay, but that's the nature of professional sports. All of our favorite athletes at one time or another have had to go by the way. Troy Polamalu being one, Franco Harris being another. Sure. Joe Green, retired, and the list goes on and on. Roberto Clemente, unfortunately, was taken away from us a bit too early.
That's a tragic one.
That being said, and if you've listened to my commentary over the years here, I am a man enough to admit when I'm wrong, and I was very critical of Sidney Crosby over the last few years, and Devin Shea, our producer in the booth, is going to like this, but I was wrong about Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby is by far the best player in the game of hockey. What he did in Game 5 by putting this team on his back and willing them to a Stanley Cup championship to complete the back-to-back seasons, there is no question in my mind he's the best player in hockey now. I would even say he's probably the second greatest player in Penguins history, right behind the owner, Mario Lemieux. Wow. I think those two are 1 and 1A. I wouldn't consider either one of them to be behind the other.
We'll check with Smoke and Jim because he has a list of top 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
I look at it like this.
Need I stop now?
Who were the captains of the teams that won Stanley Cups? And then that answers that question right there. Okay, because Sidney Crosby has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt he has overcome more adversity and has won more accolades than anybody else. Gold medals, World Cups, NHL MVP, 2 Conn Smythe trophies back to back, 3-time Stanley Cup champion. And I just thought a couple of years ago that Sidney Crosby was washed up and it was no good. And I thought it would be best for the Penguins to get rid of him. Oh, boy, was I wrong, and I'm glad I was wrong, and I'm glad nobody listened to me. Well, that just goes to say, you heard me, but you didn't listen to me. But I'm very proud to say that Sidney Crosby will go down as probably as the greatest hockey player in Pittsburgh history.
Paul Zeiss wrote a column for the Post-Gazette saying that he's going out on a limb. Sid Crosby's the best Penguin player right now.
Well, he's the best one that's wearing a uniform right now, yes. Let's see what happens. I do think that Sidney Crosby
and he named many
his
things
team,
like you have, plus more.
And, in the team
that's your man Zeiss.
He still has an opportunity, and the team around him, to win more championships. And if anybody is capable of doing that, I think it is him. And I'm glad I was wrong. I'm glad he's a Pittsburgh Penguin. And I'm going to savor the back-to-back championships because this doesn't happen often, folks. That's what's on my mind.
Well said, Chip. I agree with you. I went out on a limb last year after watching the hockey game, and Smoking Jim jumped on my back. He weighed a lot more at the time. I struggled. I thought he was 350 pounds. He was 317. Now he's at 270. So I'm happy that I was right. But the few things that I did see, they overcame even what I thought from injuries. To play without Letang, I didn't know how they could even possibly do it, but they did. And I read a column or two about younger players that they have coming up. A lot of these guys are 21, 22, 23. Our core group of guys aren't even 30. So I have to go out on a limb again. I know we just won the back-to-back three-peat. It's very difficult to do, especially in this age of salary restrictions and things like that, but the Penguins did it. Sullivan proved to me that he's an excellent coach. He's by far different than a lot of the other coaches that have a shelf life of 4.3 years. You can look that up in your Funkin' Wagnalls on the stats. And he's not afraid to yell at these guys. He's not afraid to take guys and bench them and bring other guys up from Wilkes-Barre. So I look forward to that again, another exciting year next year. It's all about the Penguins. I'm so happy for them. Tomorrow, 11 o'clock in the morning, Smoking Jim will be down there getting his exercise because he'll actually want to see this. He'll be one of 400,000 people.
Jim will be our man in the street doing interviews.
And we're putting it on him since he has his new green hat, Go for the Green, with Levine. So it ties right in. Just look for Smoking Jim Frazier there. I don't care what appointment he has for therapy. He'll be a little bit late. Three-peat's on the way. Enjoy the success that they had. People can keep posting about these Penguins and what they did and didn't do. God bless them. A lot of people see things differently. I'm a realist. Saw they overcame a lot of adversity, and I'm proud to be in Pittsburgh. It's an honor, like Chip said, to have so many championship teams. We are spoiled, but I don't live and die with each team. Sure, they lost the game, and I was upset, but I knew they'd come back in the sixth, maybe the seventh game, and it got a little long in that third period till they scored. So it made me wait a little bit, and that's what's on my mind. Go Penguins. It was a hell of a year. Thank you for the entertainment. Looking forward to next year.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And I tell you what, Fiction and Facts from Smoking Jim's Almanac, I'm going back a week. Last week I was able to get reunited with my good friend, not just Facebook friend, but Bill Cower. Bill Cower shared a lot of stories with me, introduced me to Marty Schottenheimer. First time I met Coach Marty Schottenheimer.
When did this happen?
Last Friday.
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah, Coach Marty Schottenheimer. And
How is Coach Schottenheimer doing? I understand.
Looked like he has little old timers to me.
That's what I heard. A little dementia.
Alzheimer's.
Yeah, dementia.
Alzheimer's.
Yeah, I tell you what, he remembers the past very well, and shares some real good stories. And I was able to reunite with my main man Edmund Nelson, who's probably looking for a TV job right now.
Wow.
They backstabbed him a little bit with Charlie Batch actually, and
Charlie's done well for himself.
yeah, he I think he backstabbed Edmund to get that job, but my man Perry Kemp was there. Perry Kemp, who was the other receiver with Green Bay, with Sterling Sharp, who probably could really be in the Hall of Fame. Sterling Sharp, when Perry Kemp retired, he was the 4th all-time leading receiver in Green Bay Packer history, probably not in the top 10 now. But the first black player in Pittsburgh Steelers history was in 1933, Ray Kemp. And Ray Kemp's grandson was there, Louis Ray Kemp. And a great player, played on a 1976 Pitt National Championship team. He was Tony Dorsett's blocking back. And I'm sure he missed a couple blocks, hoping to get more carries. But that's it. That's how those Kemps are.
Jim, and your speculation, unbelievable.
But I was honored to be accompanied by a friend of the show, Robin Allen Clark.
I saw
your picture of you too.
Yeah, looked beautiful. Yeah, so
she's as pretty as ever.
So maybe one day I can share some of the stories that Coach Cower shared with me, and just to be in the presence of Marty Schottenheimer,
Fort Cherry.
Fort Cherry High School, and unfortunately, we still don't get along. Lawyer Ralph Sendrich was there, but we haven't been on speaking terms in quite a long time.
Wow.
So we didn't get a chance to bury the hatchet, but he got a new book out, and congratulations.
Did he know you recovered from quadruple bypass? He could have at least buried the hatchet.
Well, he was a former pretty good wrestler at Avella High School, so if he knew I had open heart surgery, he might have tried to take me down.
No, I don't think so.
So I had to conceal that, but hey, thanks again, Coach Bill Cower, for introducing me to Marty Schottenheimer. I had a great time, enjoyed myself with Coach Cower. Coach Cower looked very good, and he left a little early. A lot of pretty girls around. And that's my fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Hey, Smoking Jim, I appreciate it, but what I really appreciate is the lack of stories that you were told or heard that you even brought up.
Hey, who needs a story when you got names to drop?
I like to drop the names, but in the future we'll get some stories in when we have some time.
Should I hold my breath?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's worth it.
So you say. Smoking Jim, I'm glad to have you back and healthy.
Thank you,
I
sir.
can see you still got the mind, the body. I'm worried about it. We will see what happens there. By the way, how's your therapy?
I haven't started. Yeah, I keep forgetting to make the phone call, but
I knew it.
I'm
You know what? You need to get your head out of your hind end and start doing something.
I refuse to go to Murraysville. I gotta find another place, but I guess I will go to Murraysville.
You better go.
Hey, don't make me drag you there.
I'm about 2 weeks behind, but I keep forgetting to make that call.
I just had a funny feeling.
Jim,
I just had a funny feeling that
you got
therapy
a
was...
second lease on life, man. Don't take it for granted.
Columbo comes on every morning at 9 o'clock, and
Put it on your DVR and go work out for that hour. All right.
For being so stubborn.
I didn't want to say it. I was a second away.
Right there.
I'm getting ready to call.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Smoking Jim, for your fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac with Not a Story Was Said. That's got to be a new record, even for you. That has to be a record. Well, we're going to move on.
And to start off my trivia segment, I'd like to start with a little bit of history that was made this Sunday evening. If you look at the history of the NHL, and I know Jim's a student of NHL history, he'll recognize these two names quite well. But Matt Murray did something that has not been done by an NHL goaltender since 1957, and that was winning 2 Stanley Cups in the first 2 years. First 2 years in the NHL. The last goaltender to do that was the great Terry Sawchuk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a household name, right? And so
a little clarification: Smoking Jim, still an NFL scout, doesn't have a clue about NHL.
And the first coach since the great Toe Blake to win Stanley Cups in his first 2 years as a head coach.
Wow.
Was Mike Sullivan. So, and you remember Toe, right? And Jim has no idea who I'm talking about. But they're two of the icons of the sport. Toe Blake was a famous coach, won multiple championships. Just wanted to share that information with you. And also, I remember last week that there was a lot of conversations about who should start net for Game 5.
Fleury.
And everybody in Pittsburgh, as at 80% of the people that responded to the poll said Fleury. And I said that Matt Murray was a better goaltender than Marc-Andre Fleury every day of the week. And far be it from me to present evidence, okay? But some people don't rely on the facts, and I just simply the facts. The goals against average, which is what we measure a goaltender for. The number one goals against average of all of the goaltenders that played in the 2017 Stanley Cup playoffs. Matt Murray was number one with a goals against average of 1.7. He played in 11 games, and he gave up 19 goals. Marc-Andre Fleury was a little bit further down the list at number 12. And he played in 15 games, and he gave up 37 goals. And his goals against average was a 2.56. So right there, that just goes to show you that, the head coach of the Penguins, Mike Sullivan, did start the right goaltender. And there'll be a little parade downtown tomorrow just to kind of confirm that. So,
Well, he did get a shutout.
Well, he got a couple of shutouts. He took the lead from the captain of the team, and he decided, Sid Crosby, the start of Game 5, decided, you know what, we're not going to let the Predators win this. And Matt Murray said, okay, I won't let them score. So 7 goals later, we're hoisting the cup. So to move along with our trivia, and we do have plenty of other things to talk about this evening, so I'm not going to go long into some baseball trivia, but you know how I love my baseball trivia. On this date in baseball, June the 11th, 1938, Johnny Vandermeer hurled the first of 2 consecutive no-hitters as the Cincinnati Reds beat the Boston Braves. This is another feat that I believe will never be repeated. Just like Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak and Ted Williams batting .400 for the season. Okay? June 11th, 1985, a very nondescript player who played for a short period of time with the Philadelphia Phillies, Vaughn Hayes, became the first player in Major League history to hit 2 home runs in the first inning. Hayes connected twice in a 9-run first, powering the Philadelphia Phillies to a 26-7 victory over the New York Mets. Two home runs in the first inning, not a bad day's work.
Yeah, it's pretty strong.
Okay, June 11th, 1990, Nolan Ryan pitched his then record 6th career no-hitter extending his major league record as the Rangers beat the Oakland A's 5-0. Ryan was the first to pitch no-hitters for 3 teams, and at 43, the oldest to throw one, but that wasn't his last. Lee Smith, a great reliever for the Chicago Cubs. Among other teams, Lee Smith set a major league record with a save in his 16th consecutive appearance, pitching a scoreless ninth to preserve the California Angels' 5-4 victory over Baltimore. Smith broke the mark of 15 straight set by Doug Jones in 1988. Now just consider that. That's 16 straight appearances.
I got it.
And he got the deal done. So and then here's an odd one, because there's not a lot of teams that can take credit for pitching a no-hitter against the New York Yankees. New York Yankees have, over the years, have always had a stacked lineup. But on June the 11th, 2003, Houston's Roy Oswalt, Pete Monroe, Kirk Salarus, Brad Lidge, Octavio Dotel, and he pitched for the Pirates at one time, and Billy Wagner combined for the first no-hitter against the New York Yankees in 45 years, winning 8-0. They just had to use their whole pitching staff to do it.
The bullpen come out of it. Christy Matheson, who was the one of the greatest pitchers of all time of the New York Giants, pitched his second no-hit game on June 13th, 1905, beating the Cubs, and Mordecai Three-Finger Brown 1-0. Matheson and Brown matched no-hitters for 8 innings. The Giants got 2 hits in the 9th for the win, and Christy Matheson wasn't done on June the 13th, because in 1912, he earned his 300th career victory with a 3-2 triumph over the Chicago Cubs. So kind of an abbreviated trivia this evening, but we do have plenty to talk about with the Penguins wrapping up consecutive championships. We've got the Steelers, who are in a mandatory minicamp right now, with a few noticeable exceptions. And the Pittsburgh Pirates, believe it or not, the Pittsburgh Pirates, at this state in the season, even though most people have stopped paying attention, they're only 3.5 games out of first place. And a 3-game winning streak. First one of the year.
And actually, they're playing the best team in the National League. They beat them last night.
The Rockies.
They're playing them right now. Believe it or not, the Colorado Rockies are the best team in the National League right now. The record speaks for itself. Check the standings.
They had one of the best road records. I heard 24-11, which usually they're notorious for a bad road record because they hit a lot of home runs.
Well, and their pitching staff right now is without a question the best one in the majors, and half of their games are played in the launching pad that they call Coors Field.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, thanks, Chip. Appreciate your trivia time. Thanks, Devin Shea, for the segue to On Location. Just announced that we will be August 14th at the new Olive Oils Pizzeria on Brookline Boulevard. I'll have to give that address out. We'll be getting some guests and scheduling it there. It should be a nice grand opening. Frank, the owner, loves our show, provides that pizza and hoagie, and will definitely have us do a show. It's a nice sit-down establishment where you can sit in there and eat. So we should have some fun there, August the 14th. Before that, we're working on a show at Hollywood Lanes. Smokin' Jim does this thing where it's called the Pittsburgh, Sportsline Hall of Fame. He has the only vote on there. Yes, I got inducted to it the first time he did it. Last one to be put in there that day. I'm not sure what the criteria is or what you have to do to be a Hall of Famer.
I was inducted last year.
Yes, sir.
Chip made it.
Yes,
yep.
Sir.
So we are in that Pittsburgh Hall of Fame. We're looking at like the 3rd Monday of July.
Yay!
So I have to confirm that with Jeffrey Park, but that's what we're looking at. Smoking Jim will book it accordingly. I guess we'll have a few people from the past, a few from the new list. Which, how many will be going in? Do you have any idea, or
Less than 8 this year.
okay, less than 8?
Well, it depends on how many people cough up the cash.
We won't get into that. We'll see. They even had one a repeater.
I'm not saying that Jim can be bought. No, but he does accept donations.
And that's what I have for On Location. Stay tuned. We'll figure something out. It's always an adventure here. Smoking Jim, it's like you never were gone for a month with a quadruple bypass. Soon to get therapy.
No.
All right. We'll be back, and we'll talk some Penguin talk after the next commercial. Little hockey talk. Pittsburgh Penguins back-to-back champions. Murray, I thought Fleury should have started. Why not? I like the opposite sometimes. That Murray had a great series. Last couple shutouts, he proved he's competent. 2 Stanley Cups in his rookie year.
Now,
Unbelievable.
of the 5 Penguins Stanley Cup winning teams, I honestly feel that the most impressive bunch was this year's team, because I think this team overcame so much more adversity and so many injuries, and so many players played with incredible injuries. You got Bonino, who was playing on one leg, had a broken tibia, and he tried to play, continue to try to play. You have Ian Cole. He had a broken hand and broken ribs, and he didn't miss a game. I mean, you wait until you hear the final injury report come out of how banged up this team is.
But just to interrupt you, it's interesting that the hockey upper body injury, lower body injury, but no details. And you got broken bones.
Well,
NFL, you hear all that. Betting lines, you hear all that.
Because Vegas has got their meat hooks right in the
I just wanted to bring that out with the difference.
The NHL.
When they go, it's an upper body injury.
Well, Chris
Where from
Letang,
the waist up? What did you hurt?
The Penguins are one of, I think, the last team to win a Stanley Cup without a stud defenseman was the 2006 Carolina Hurricanes. And the Penguins just, plugged in the pieces as they needed them. And
Sullivan and his coaching staff were able to divide the defenseman's time up to under 25 minutes each.
They did a masterful job.
Unbelievable. I was impressed by their time.
And if there's anybody that can criticize anything that Mike Sullivan has done, I don't see how they can. I mean, of all the coaches in Pittsburgh, we criticize Mike Tomlin. He's one of Jim's favorite whipping boys. Clint Hurdle gets lambasted on a regular basis. But you just can't. You cannot. I mean, he's 8-0 in playoff series. I mean, everything he does works. But more importantly, what he did was he got the team to buy into it. And Jim Rutherford, who took the reins from Ray Shero, and who left the team in pretty much of a shambles when he left.
Yes, he did.
They didn't have any forwards. Now, if you look at the way the team is set up now, we've got so many young guys that came in and were big contributors that are making the NHL minimum salary, and these guys are under contract for a couple of more years.
Yeah.
So they don't have to pay them yet, which enables them to pay superstars like Crosby, Malkin, Kessel. Even Marc-Andre Fleury was getting paid very well. And now, they've positioned themselves where they've got this core group of superstars. Now they've got this core group of young players who have now tasted some champions. And they're $22 million under the salary cap.
Right.
So now that they can now spend, because we were at a point a couple of years ago, we couldn't add anybody to the roster because
they're not afraid to take it to the salary cap limit.
They were not afraid to take it there, but they were there and they couldn't spend any more money, so they couldn't,
maneuver.
They've done very, very well, and they're bringing Mike Sullivan up from Wilkes-Barre, who worked with a lot of these young guys in the minors, And he trained them. And the thing that strikes me about Mike Sullivan more than anything else is that he always talks about playing the game the right way.
Sure.
And everybody has bought into his way of doing things.
And the other thing, like Tomlin talks about stepping up. So does
Next
Sullivan.
man up, next man up. Well, the Penguins.
They're all about the next man up. There's no drop
they
off.
epitomize the term next man up.
The next man up is what their mantra is.
Yeah, well,
look at these guys, broken bones.
They produced. I mean, it was incredible to watch. But watching that team, I honestly thought when we were in the Washington series, after Washington tied at 3-3, I was like, hey, the Penguins. They were brave. They fought the good fight, but I just thought that Washington was
better team.
Was a better team, and Marc-Andre Fleury slammed the door shut on the Washington Capitals.
Yes, he did.
And and enabled the Penguins to move on to the next series. And I thought seriously, it was after we beat the Capitals that I began to start believe that this team might be able to do this. Well, I mean, once they got to the finals, I thought it was just a question of, how long the Predators were going to stick around because I didn't think the Predators could hang. They were the number 16 seed going into the playoffs.
Right.
But, they fought the good fight. They gave the Penguins all they can handle.
Hey, their fans pumped them up. They went crazy there. 100,000 people out there in the streets.
Well, you know what? That was not all just because of the hockey team.
Well, I understand.
There was a CMA event down there, which my brother-in-law set up all the sound and television stuff for. So so it was a big country music association,
my favorite.
like Jamboree. Oh yeah, I'm sure.
That's why I missed it.
But you tip your hats to the Nashville Predators, to the Predators fans. They supported their team completely, and like I said, they fought the good fight. They gave the Penguins all they could handle, and the better team won the series.
No doubt about it. I was proud to watch the Penguins play from the youngest guy to the oldest guy. Look at Cullen.
And, we talked about this and before the show, and Jim and I mentioned it, about, Sid Crosby won the Conn Smythe Trophy. And, there was a number of candidates that you could have thought, even Devin, our producer in the control room, he felt that Connor Sheary was deserving of the Conn Smythe Trophy. Jake Gensel, my bad. Yeah. But, and he was a deserving candidate. Evgeny Malkin was a deserving candidate. And the fact that we had two goaltenders play so well, I think they basically canceled one another out. And I think when Sid Crosby won that award was in the first 2 minutes of Game 5. Oh, yeah. He came out and he completely owned the rink. He owned the Predators, and his teammates saw him go. And
didn't he throw Subban down and bang his head a little bit?
He knocked a little sense into him. Here's another thing. We talk about James Harrison and his commitment to his workout program.
Yeah.
Well, between Game 5 and Game 6, there was 2 days lag between the next game. The Penguins gave the players the day off. The coaches didn't have the day off. They came in to work on a game plan, and who is the only player in the weight room?
Always worked hard.
Yeah,
Sid Crosby, the biggest star on the team. Mm-hmm. And when you've got the best player on your team is also the hardest worker, how can you give less than 100%? And
it's hard.
And that's just simply amazing. He lives and breathes to play hockey, and to the exclusion of everything else. And they say he's got an insatiable desire to win, and it's pretty obvious. Look at all the trophies he's got.
Yeah, and he's done it. He's kept his word. He works hard, and what he does is a lot of superstars will uplift other players. He lifted a whole team.
He actually, and this goes without saying, he actually makes every player on that roster better when he plays on the ice with them.
I'm a believer.
And not a lot of superstars have the ability to do that.
Probably would have a couple more cups if it wasn't for the concussion.
Oh, no question. No question. And the thing is, when he got concussed back in 2011, did we really know much about the effects of head injuries?
Well, his was more a whiplash and neck.
No, because, there's still a lot that we don't know about that. And, it took a long time for him to get back. And, of course...
We had to get rid of Bosma. We got Sullivan. He was healing up.
But in the
Come on, man. Timing was everything.
In the process of him healing up, he was getting beat up.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you something. Wayne Gretzky, when he played...
Greatest.
He had.
I never saw him.
He had a bodyguard. His name was Dave Semenko. His nickname was
He
Cement
never
Head.
saw that.
Okay,
Never.
Mario Lemieux had Jay Caulfield watch his
Couple
back.
years, yeah.
So usually the star of the team had a bodyguard. Sid Crosby has never had anybody.
He's taken more abuse than
He's taken
anybody.
more abuse than anybody. And they said at the beginning of his career he was a whiner. Not so much anymore.
I never heard that.
You missed it. You must have missed those first few years.
But here's what I'm afraid of. I think the Penguins would be a shoo-in for back-to-back. But I'm worried because of this. Three-peat. I'm worried
You're jumping on.
I'm worried about, and I am jumping on with you. But
Either jump on or jump off.
that's it. But I'm worried because I believe that Sydney and Malkin and maybe a few others will play in the Olympics. And they only got 2 months off because of the Stanley Cup.
I believe that Gary Bettman, who got a rounding chorus of boos when they went to present the cup, I believe Bettman has decided that the NHL players are not going to be playing in the Olympics.
Sydney will play and Malkin.
Well,
They'll play.
I mean, they
Lil
may be
Birdie,
right, Smoking
Lil
Jim.
Birdie already told me.
the NHL writes their checks. They are under contract with the NHL. There may be legal ramifications.
No, nothing legal.
Thanks, Smoking Jim.
NHL's going to boycott it, but they'll play.
Time will
You
tell.
heard it. You heard it first
time
from
will tell.
Smoking
But
Jim. Frazier.
hypothetically, if they do play,
Okay.
and several players from the Penguins do play, do you think that they're superstars? Do you think that'll make it that much difficult for them to win another Stanley Cup?
Well, see, you talked to me before we went on the air, and you agreed. You and I both agree on this, that winning the Stanley Cup of all the professional sports championships is the hardest of all of them to win.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that being said, more than half the teams
It's right up
make
there
the
with
playoffs.
decathlon.
So, you don't have to be, like, look what happened to the Washington Capitals the last couple of years. President's Cup trophy winners, okay? Now, the President's Cup trophy goes to the team with the highest point total, subsequently the best team in the regular season. The best team in the regular season almost never wins the championship.
Good point.
Okay, so what you have to do is you have to gear your team to make a run to start peaking in March and April, then as opposed to being ready to play in November and December. Yes, those games are important.
Unless you're Golden State.
No, you're mixing sports.
No, and let's give a shout out to the Golden State Warriors. They took down the Cleveland Cavaliers 4-1, and without a question, they are the best team in professional basketball right now, and can be moving forward. That team, they complement one another. If they could just get Draymond Green, put a muzzle on it,
That's not gonna happen.
and keep it. But I mean, you look at that.
You got to
team.
give Kevin Durant all the props in the world. Team that beat him, he went right to him, made a huge difference. He fit right in, become a leading scorer.
Well, Golden State was going with all light-skinned brothers, but it took a dark-skinned brother to bring it home.
No, the person that
Thank you,
say,
Smoking Jim, with the race card coming out. I wondered what happened to you. I thought they took that
the
out of
person
you.
I give the most amount of credit for it is Steph Curry. Steph Curry
He's a team player.
is a two-time MVP, and he is enough of a team player to allow somebody else to step into the spotlight and and look what happened.
perform.
Because Jim and I were talking about this before we went on the air. It's
Well,
more
you guys were
important to
doing
him.
a lot of talking before.
It was
I was
more
early.
important to him to win a championship than it is for him to get his name in lights. Because I mean, sure, you can sell all the tennis shoes you want, but at the end of the day, you're measured by how many championships you won.
He's in a deodorant commercial and stuff too. There, so. Degree.
I heard it stinks.
I don't know. I use it. It works rather well. Refreshing. But it was interesting to see it. The best player in basketball, LeBron, and now Durant's like right there knocking at the door. So.
And Durant has always been that. You know, it's just that at one time Oklahoma City had a team that if they could have learned to play well with one another, they had James Harden, they had Westbrook, they had Kevin Durant, but they didn't play well together. And James Harden left for greener pastures.
A lot of superstars don't mesh. Their games don't mesh.
Well, sometimes
most brothers are selfish.
That's the word I was going to use. Some people are selfish, and you know, other people, you know, they've got their eyes on a bigger prize.
Yeah, well, they did it this year. 3 championships in 3 years and win 2 of them. I mean, that's starting to become a dynasty.
Yeah. Hey, so we're going to go rapid fire here. Jim, what do you hear from over at minicamp?
Well, one thing I hear is they're scared to death of New England. But other than that, you know, Le'Veon Bell, I'm hearing is very 50-50 chance whether Le'Veon Bell may hold out and not sign that
That's
franchise
insane.
tag. So we'll see.
What kind of logic is even behind that?
I don't know. That's $12 million guaranteed.
How can he not sign that?
I guess he's not afraid of James Conner.
Well, what do you think
does
about
that
what's
even matter?
going on with Alejandro Villanueva?
Well,
he's got an off
And he
tender for
deserves it.
$616,000, but I think he
practicing.
deserves a lot more than that.
And he's still practicing without a contract.
Well, he is a work in
I love that
progress. He is
Well, you know,
truly
he-
a work in progress. He's not, you know, doesn't have the experience that the left tackles normally do, and he's made great strides. But I don't think you can give him a $6, $7, $8 million contract.
Well, you know what? This is something that just to tell you what kind of a class act Al Villanueva is. He said that, you know what? He goes, I feel blessed that the Steelers have been so good to me and have treated me so well. He goes, I figure I owe Steelers this much respect to show up for camp. He goes, it's in the hands of my agent. I understand there's a business side to this, and I somehow seem to think that they're going to find a way to get a deal done for him.
Well, I think 3 tours of duty in Afghanistan sort of shape how you come to work each day.
Well,
and the strides that he's made
I
to be
believe
a
they're
tackle
gonna,
like he is great.
They're going to get a deal done.
But it's not exceptional for a player to get those millions.
Yeah.
He truly is't.
And there's
he is a work in progress, and he is a great guy.
There is rumors
big guy.
about that that there could possibly be an extension extended to Le'Veon Bell, but we'll see what happens with him because with Le'Veon Bell. It's almost like Martavis Bryant. Le'Veon Bell, we know he's fragile. Okay, he's never really finished a season healthy with us or a championship game. But he's another one that's one missed test from a year-long suspension.
Well, so far so good. We didn't hear it's bad yet. We'll have to find out. I just think it's foolish for him not to sign that.
Me too.
Because why wouldn't you? That's what's out there.
Yeah.
If he sits out a season, God bless him.
And you know what's happened when people sit out a season, you lose that half a step that you have right now, and then all of a sudden you become ordinary.
But what I'm hearing that Le'Veon Bell looked at and his people are looking at is $18.2 million that Antonio Brown got, and that rubbed a few people.
Who the heck
within
cares?
the organization? And
you play football for $12 million.
Yeah.
What are you going to get next year?
Yeah.
Another franchise
let's,
tag?
Jim, and I understand. Let's compare apples to apples. How many failed tests has Antonio Brown had? And the only time that he never showed up for a game was when Vontaze Burfict knocked him into next week.
Hardest worker since Rocky Bleier on the Steelers team.
Whoa!
Yeah, so if you're going to compare yourself to him, I think we need to look at comparing apples to apples.
Well, we'll hold some Steeler talk. We got Bucko talk on hold. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Chip Hayner here, smoking Jim Frazier. Want to thank all of you for watching our shows. That's why we do these things, just for you guys. So keep watching, keep liking our page on Pittsburgh Sportsline. And thanks to Dave Cable for letting us do this, Devin Shea and Carl in the control room. And Uncle Al wants you to be behind the scenes, so call up. And again, we always end the show with stay Joey strong.